Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us today for Vertica Unify 2021. Today's breakout session is entitled How Brazil Manages Its Electric Energy Demand and Consumption. My name is Jeremiah Morrow. I'm an Industry Product Marketing Manager at Vertica, and I'll be your host for this webinar. Joining me today is Dario Almeida from CCEE. But before we begin, I encourage you to submit questions during the virtual session. You don't have to wait. Just enter your questions into the Q&A box on the right-hand side of the screen. There will be a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. We'll answer as many questions as possible during that time. Any questions that we don't address, we'll do our best to answer offline. Alternatively, you can visit the Virtual Developer Lounge and ask additional questions and continue the conversation with our engineers and product experts after the session. And of course, this virtual session is being recorded and will be available to view on demand this week. We'll send you a notification as soon as it's ready. Please stick around for the code at the end to gain points to participate in our Analyze to Win competition and win prizes. Now, let's get started. Over to you, Dario.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Hello, everybody. My name is Dario Almeida. I am the System Architecture Executive Manager at CCE. CCE is the Brazilian energy market operator. It is a pleasure to be here and share with you our success story regarding the implementation of Vertica. Starting this year, Brazil adopted an hourly pricing model for its electricity market, and Vertica platform helped us in the implementation of this new pricing model. As you all know, price is a key economic signal to balance supply and demand in any competitive market. This could not be different for the energy market. The replacement of weekly prices by hourly prices was a very, very important improvement for the Brazilian electricity sector. This change required some important adjustments to our digital platform, which included the implementation of a high-performance big data analytics platform. I'd like to share this success story with you, and I hope you enjoy it. Well, first of all, I would like to briefly present the governance structure of the Brazilian electricity sector. The energy sector has a complex governance, as you can see, which includes either the participation of government agencies and companies, the regulatory agency, and 2 private companies. Starting with the dark blue box on the top, in Brazil, sector and energy policies are defined by the CNPE, which is the National Council for Energy Policy. The supervision and control of the execution of those policies are under responsibility of the MME, which is our Ministry of Mines and Energy. The light blue box shown to the left of the Ministry of Mines and Energy is the CMSE, a high-level committee responsible for monitoring the electrical system and ensuring adequate energy supply in the country. Below the Ministry of Mines and Energy box, connected with a solid line, is the Energy Research Company, responsible for planning the expansion of electricity generation and transmission in Brazil. To the left of EPE, connected to the Ministry of Mines and Energy through a dashed line, is ANEEL, the regulatory agency for Brazil's electricity sector. And right below ANEEL, at the bottom of the diagram, there are 2 companies that are responsible for either the physical and commercial operations of the electrical sector. ONS is the national grid operator, which provides an optimized operation of the national interconnected system with focus on ensuring adequate supply at reasonable costs. And finally, CCE, which stands for Chamber of Electric Energy Commercialization. CCE provides an environment for energy trading activities and operations, improving solutions according to the market needs with integrity, transparency, and accountability. Differently from ONS, CCE is not focused on the physical operation of the grid, but on the commercialization environment. CCE operates the Brazilian electricity market, managing transactions and conducting official energy auctions. Our mission is to enable the commercialization of electric energy in Brazil. Obviously, this is a mission of huge importance for the country's economic and social development, and I'm proud to be part of it. As you can see in this slide, CCE is a non-profit private company founded in 1999. It brings together all companies that trade electricity in Brazil. Here, I brought some numbers just to give you a quick overview of Brazil and its electricity sector. Brazil is a huge country with continental dimensions in its 8.5 million square kilometers. We are bigger than the United States if you don't count Alaska, for example. We have an estimated population of around 212 million inhabitants, and our official language is Portuguese. We ended 2020 with a GDP of $1.45 trillion, which is unfortunately much lower than the $1.84 trillion we had at the end of 2019, before the COVID-19 crisis. Sadly, it has had a severe impact on country's economy. The map on the left shows our interconnected transmission system. It is comprised of 145 and 600 kilometers of transmission lines. Brazil has 175.5 gigawatts of generation capacity. It's a big generation capacity. And 67.4 gigawatts of average energy consumption. This image you see here superimposes the Brazilian electrical transmission grid on the map of Europe. This is just to give you a better perspective of its size. As you can see, we have a really massive transmission grid. Well, let's talk about generation capacity. In terms of electricity generation, Brazil has one of the cleanest matrices in the world, with more than 75% of renewable generation. It's a lot. It is the third largest country in terms of renewable generation capacity, behind only China and the United States. Thermal generation, which you see in the center, plays a very important role in regulating the system in times of hydraulic scarcity, and it accounts for 26% of our total generation capacity. Now, in order to better understand CCE's role as the energy market operator in Brazil, let's take a quick look at its main responsibilities. CCE's main attribution is to carry out the accounting and settlement of the short-term energy market, which appears in the upper left corner of this chart. We also operate the energy auctions and manage the energy sector funds. We collect energy consumption and generation data from all free market participants who are distributed all around the country and register the agent's bilateral purchase and sale energy transactions. Besides that, we calculate the short-term market prices, enforce rules and procedures, monitor the free market operations, and conduct some specific operations for the regulated market. In order to fulfill all these responsibilities, CCE develops and operates a comprehensive digital platform that supports market operations and is used by the market players all over the country. Here, I would like to present some numbers that summarize CCE's operations. CCE has more than 11,000 associate members, which we call market agents or just agents. That number has grown at a rate of 150, 160 new members per month. In 2020, our base grew 19%, despite the unfavorable context of the COVID-19 crisis. We manage more than 80,000 contracts throughout the country. In 2020, we settled the equivalent of $370 billion in the short-term market. And since 2004, $366 billion have been traded in 82 regulated actions, taking December 20 exchange rate as a reference. Well, the market agents, they are distributed in different categories. There are the categories of generation, distribution, commercialization, and consumption of electricity. In April, out of the 11,000 members, more than 9,000 were in the consumer category, which is the largest and the fastest growing. There are more than 400 energy traders in Brazil. In April, we had 417, 50 distributors, and more than 1,700 generators, including power producers, self-producers, and independent energy providers. CCE is a big data and information factory. This slide presents a simplified schematic of our short-term market accounting and settlement process. Information on prices, contracts, and energy measurements are used in the accounting process, which determines the differences between what was contracted and what was actually performed in the market. Those differences are priced by the PLD, which is our short-term market price, and then settled monthly. As a result of these operations, we feed our transactional and analytical databases with large amounts of high value data for the market players. As you can see, organizations, auctions, assets, measurements, prices, contracts, guarantees, all kinds of information are stored and are available for the market players to query. Now let's talk a little more about prices. Energy price is the key economic indicator for the short-term energy market, and its behavior is essential for market agents to define their commercial strategies. In general, energy prices are highly volatile and can vary significantly in response to various technical, economic, or climate factors. In these charts, you can see the behavior of free market prices over the last 20 years. As you can see, it varies a lot. In the beginning of this year, beginning in January 2021, Brazil adopted a new pricing model, more precise and adequate to the new energy matrix. Over the past 7 years, intermittent renewable energy sources have grown from 1% to 12% in the country's generation matrix. This required a new pricing model that could better represent the operating reality of the system. Until 2020, there were 48 different prices per month. Now we operate with almost 3,000 prices per month, as you can see in the chart up to the right. Hourly prices have greatly increased the demand for data processing and storage in our accounting systems. The energy metering and contract registration processes have not changed. We continue to collect measurements every 5 minutes and integrate them into hourly measurements to serve as input to the accounting process. However, the calculation of prices has changed a lot. If before we only calculated prices once a week, we now calculate and publish hourly prices daily for each of the four submarkets. The hourly pricing model greatly improved market efficiency. Now, energy price works as a better economic signal. It enables a better load curve representation and reduces overall system charges. It is best suited to represent the variability of intermittent renewable sources and better represents the operational restrictions associated with hydraulic, thermal, and interchange generation. Finally, the hourly prices may drive new business opportunities in areas such as demand response, storage, pumping, etc. A more accurate representation of the system restrictions allow for more effective economic signals throughout the day on all four submarkets. On the map on the right, you can see the four energy submarkets in Brazil, one in the north, the northeast, the southeast and middle west, and below the south. The chart shows a sample with measurement of energy consumptions in blue and hourly prices in yellow for each of the four submarkets. The sample is from May this year. Note that price curves in yellow are similar for the south and southeast submarkets, but quite different for the north and northeast submarkets. The northeast is the submarket with the highest concentration of wind generation in Brazil. The change in the pricing model comes in a context of high growth in the free energy market. Prices in the free market are more attractive than prices in the regulated market, and consumers who migrate to this environment benefit from large savings in energy costs. It's usually something around 20% savings on average. In the last 5 years, the number of agents in the free market increased by 249%, and this growth is expected to remain strong as the load limits for entry into the free market have been gradually reduced. It's going from 3 megawatts in the past Now it's 1.5 to 0.5 megawatts in January 23. For the long term, there is the possibility of a total opening of the Brazilian market. There's a bill being discussed in the Congress. So for the next years, there may be some quite important changes in our market structure. This accelerated market growth poses an additional performance challenge to our digital platform. Impacts on data management have grown much faster than the market. In the last 2 years, the number of users of our analytics systems have increased by 45%. But the number of queries to the system has grown 5 times as much at a rate of 236%. Storage increase is also an important factor. With the implementation of the new pricing model, the number of accounting data points increased by more than 64 times. The rapid increase on either the database size, number of users, and frequency of queries have put strong pressure on the system response times. To ensure a sustainable market growth, we need to provide agents with a resilient digital platform that ensures high level of flexibility, performance, security, and availability. The current challenges are huge. Data volumes consistently outpace market growth, as we've seen. DNA tools matured and are always hungry. Data requests grow steadily from all channels. High performance is a must, and high availability is always a must. Highly flexible costing models are needed to keep pace with demand growth. And today, total security is the minimum acceptable requirement. The answer for the new challenging requirements on data volumes, frequency of access, and performance was a new big data solution. CCE prospected the market in search of a solution that could meet the response time requirements for queries on hourly data. The existing database, the legacy one, was unable to resolve various types of hourly queries within the maximum interval time, which is 5 minutes. After which, the system would cancel the query and return timeout to the user. CCE analyzed the options available in the market and identified Vertica as the most promising solution. Vertica underwent extensive performance testing with production equivalent databases and was able to deliver the required performance. The same tests we also applied to the legacy platform for both the version in production and the latest version available at the time. Those tests demonstrated huge differences in response time in favor to Vertica. After Vertica was deployed, all restriction on access to hourly queries by the agents were removed. In summary, Vertica enabled release of hourly queries to market participants. It ensured sub-second database response time for our standard reports. With Vertica, response time for the most critical hourly queries went down from more than 5 hours, which of course would lead to timeout in the past, to less than 5 minutes. Vertica also ensured a very high scalability as well as a low cost of maintenance. As a result, we achieved a 97% increase, actually a little bit more than that, in performance for hourly queries. In terms of availability, the benefit was also significant. We went from 99.3% with the legacy solution to 99.9% availability. With a very low level of production incidents, the system is quite stable. Vertica also provides a very good data compression. We achieved a 53% data compression rate, leading to some significant cost saving on storage. As a side benefit, the deployment of Vertica also favored our multi-channel data strategy. This is very important. CCE makes available to clients, to the agents, through 3 main channels: web applications, B2B integration services, and a mobile app. We understand that APIs will be the main channel of interaction with market players in the future. Automated data exchange through APIs allows for greater scalability, productivity, and security in market operations. Thus, the ability to deliver data services as APIs from our analytical basis is of strategic importance for market evolution. This would not be possible without a high-performance database responding to the queries from the B2B integration layer. In the web channel, it was also possible to embed interactive dashboards to our transactional applications, improving the user experience and greatly enriching its analytical capabilities. Transactional applications can be pretty and smart as well. On this slide, you can see some samples of the interactive dashboards we make available to market agents on our web channel. These are smart dashboards with drill down and drill through capabilities that facilitate the analysis activities a lot. Dashboards can provide public or private data and a mix of it. All private and confidential data is properly secured at the presentation, network, and database level. As it comes to B2B channel, we have seen an exponential growth in requests to our APIs in the past 5 years, internal and external. The volume of requests for integration services has more than doubled each year. In 2020, the volume of requests grew 180%, and half of the nearly 100 million requests were external requests arising from B2B integrations. Vertica has enabled the development of APIs that provide access to large volumes of hourly data without compromising the performance or stability of the integration platform. Now let's overview the architecture. You can see in this simplified diagram that our architecture is mainly supported by some robust platforms such as Oracle, IBM, Tableau, and Vertica. At the top, it is shown the three web platforms the agents interact with. They are the web portal to the left, the application cockpit, and the business intelligence platform. The interactive dashboards are developed in Tableau and then embedded into both the web portal and the transactional systems. Those systems provide online services to the users on a central location, described here as the application cockpit. The data presented in those dashboards come from the OLTP and OLAP databases shown in the center of this diagram. Those databases are implemented on Oracle and Vertica platforms, respectively. The Business Intelligence Platform provides the user with almost 200 standard reports, but also allow for self-service reporting. At the bottom of the diagram, you can see the B2B and mobile channels, which consume data from the analytical and transactional database to deliver several kinds of services to the agents. What is next for this architecture in the near future? We are currently implementing a new web portal, as presented in bullet 1 to the left. The Oracle Web Center Suite platform will be replaced by the LifeWay platform. Go live is planned for the end of October. The Business Intelligence platform is being also upgraded. The current Oracle Business Intelligence Enterprise Edition platform will be replaced by Oracle Analytics Server, as shown in bullet 2. As shown in bullet 3, we are on a prep phase of a POC with Vertica in database machine learning in our CCE labs. It is our intent to explore the advanced analytics resources that come embedded in Vertica. In this first POC, we are planning to explore an energy consumption forecast use case. We are also expanding our API platform, releasing several new services consuming data from transactional analytical data sets. Currently, Vertica has been the main source for the new services under development. By the end of 2021, we will start a project to update our API strategy and to pursue some technical enhancements to our integration platform. And to finalize, I would like to share a quote from Bill Gates that makes clear the importance of data information management platforms in any company, not just CCE. He says, how you gather, manage, and use information will determine whether you win or lose. Thank you.
Thank you all for listening to our presentation. Now let's get to some questions. Great, thanks, Dario. Couple of questions have come through. First, really quickly, what was your primary historic database platform?
It was Oracle. We
Okay.
have the Oracle Exadata in place, so that was replaced by Vertica.
Got it. Great. And you came to Vertica primarily from a performance standpoint, trying to answer those queries a little faster. But what was the company's analytics vision, and what are you striving to achieve with data analytics?
Okay. In terms of our vision, today CCE is one of the main sources of data and information for the Brazilian electricity sector. We are kind of a hub in the center of this ecosystem, this marketplace. Um, During COVID pandemic, for example, Jeremiah, this position became even more evident as the country's consumption and generation information started to be used as a reference to understand the behavior of the society and the impacts of the social distancing on the country's economy. We have always improved our technology architecture to optimize the process of data storage, data capture, data storage, management, and analysis. And the acquisition of Vertica was a really important step in this strategy, as well as the adoption of Tableau, as I showed in my presentation. The
Hmm.
combination of these two platforms enabled the development of some very interesting value-added products and services. But Jeremiah, there's no point in having a lot of data, a mountain of data, if you are unable to easily analyze it and generate business insight. You have to see the data. You have to understand the data patterns and to leverage business opportunities. And we have, in the past 2 years, made some very good improvement in the way we deliver data to and information to the market. In addition to the operational reports that we routinely made available to the market, we started to deliver those executive dashboards that I showed in my presentation with the key information already consolidated in order to provide more analysis power to the users. And I think that combination of Vertica and Tableau we were able to accomplish uh, those kind of delivery over huge data sets that we couldn't do before.
Yeah.
Um, the next step, Jeremiah, is to develop advanced data and analytics skills. We are right now conducting an enterprise architecture review project at CCE, and in a series of strategy workshops we conducted in by this project with the CCE management team, we DNA ranked as our most promising driving force for innovation. So it has been selected by our innovation lab. We have an innovation lab named CCA Labs as one of the three highest priorities, the development priorities for the next 3 years.
Yeah. I definitely want to talk about advanced analytics and what you're doing with machine learning, but I want to go back first. So, could you talk a little bit about the approach taken by CCEE to implement Vertica, some of the challenges you faced, and what were the critical success factors?
Okay. Initially, we replicated the legacy database to Vertica. So it was a big bang migration. We took all the data marts, the data that was in place in Oracle, which was huge, and we replicated that to Vertica and maintained a model of coexistence of the two solutions. The applications were then gradually migrated from Oracle to Vertica. In the end, after we migrated all the external and internal applications, we eliminated the data, we purged the data from Oracle, and we stopped this replication schema. We had a total of 4 implementation phases in the project. The initial phase was the most important one, was the one that brought most of the benefits of the project, because it allowed from the beginning the release of the hourly queries very quickly to the market. The initial plans were for a 5 months project. We planned for an implementation project of 5 months, but we were able to anticipate that. We completed the work in just 3.5 months, deploying
Very
the
good.
system into full production by mid-October 2019. Jeremiah, in this first deployment, we migrated 10.5 terabytes of data to Vertica in 48 hours. That was over a weekend, Saturday, and we run 200 processes in parallel, achieving a throughput of 6.5 billion data records per hour. So we
Wow.
were really amazed with this performance. So it helped a lot in this implementation.
Excellent. Um, and I know you're very early on in your machine learning journey with Vertica, but could you talk a little bit about the POC and what you're doing in your labs with Vertica ML?
Okay. Uh, Actually, we are in a preparation stage, no? Very early stage, as you mentioned. Um, we intend to build a energy consumption forecasting model for Brazil based on the historical data we have available in Vertica. We have a very large history of consumption and generation measurements already available in Vertica. So we intend to assess how Vertica could help us build a high quality, high performing forecasting model. Uh, you know, the idea is to implement the prediction model in Vertica and integrate it to Tableau for data presentation and analysis. So now we are
Mhm.
engaged the team. We have already made this internal partnership with the business area at CCE that is responsible for this kind of information. And we are providing training to the technical team. Um, and we will start this POC right now in August, next month.
Great. And what are you hoping will be the outcome for buyers and consumers with the forecast model?
Yeah, this forecast model it is very important for the market, because CCE is, the source of most of the information on the market. We give the market information on the past of actual measurements, what happened, but we also provide the market with predictions, with forecasts,
Mhm.
not just regarding consumption, but regarding, for instance, pricing. All the prices that we calculate, we also forecast the future. Uh, and consumption is one of the main information used for calculating the price and defining strategies. So if you could provide the market not just the actual consumption, but also provide a good quality uh, uh, forecast, it's very helpful for their business strategy.
Excellent. Well, that is all the questions that have come through now. So thank you very much again, Dario, for your time today. Very much looking forward to hearing once you're farther along in your machine learning journey how that's going. So
Okay,
thank you
good,
again.
Jeremiah. Thank you.
Yep.
I'm happy to be here. Bye bye.
Excellent.